Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to attempt to replace the heater core in my 2001 Mitsubishi Magna. If you've been following my channel, you'll see a video from a couple of months ago where I did a heater core bypass because the pipes disintegrated and leaked coolant all into the passenger and driver footwells. So just to get the car back on the road, I just did a bypass. I've now bought a brand new heater core and pipes, and I'm on holiday, so I've got time to do the job with an allowance for any kind of contingencies if something goes wrong, although I do have another car that I can use. Apparently this is a 5-hour job, but we will see. I've never removed the dashboard before, just parts of the dashboard, so I'll be starting with what I know: glove box, center stack, center console, instrument cluster and surround, and the lower trim pieces, and then move on from there. Parts and tools that I've got there: so socket set, toolbox, some coolant, because when I undo one of the hoses I'm going to obviously lose the coolant, so I'm probably going to just do a drain and refill. The new heater core and the 2 pipes. So this is what disintegrated and caused the leak into the cabin. So that was $225 on eBay. Got to be honest, I'm not seeing $225 there, but beggars can't be choosers. This is just an idea I've got to color code the connectors, so depending on what I see there, once I get behind the dashboard, I just thought maybe I'll just color code the plugs just to make it easier to reconnect, but it may not be required, we'll see. So there, I'm not sure what else I'll need as I go. I haven't removed the dashboard entirely before, but that's what I've got to start with. 15 minutes in and we're making good progress. So you can see there are removed instrument cluster and surround. All the lower trims, center console completely gone. Most of the center stack with the exception of the heater controls. I'm going to move on to the glove box and A-pillar trim. That trim's already removed. I believe the steering wheel doesn't need to come off, but I have done that before, so if need be I can remove it, but hopefully I don't need to worry about that. And here's the collection of parts accumulated so far. Alright, 1.5 hours in and the dashboard is now ready to come out. It's now loose, so I can confirm I can remove it, but I'm just leaving it there for the moment, just to provide an update on what I had to remove. Not as much as I thought. It's quite a methodical kind of process. Given I've removed a lot of the parts during my ownership of the car, I was able to kind of fast track, I suppose, compared to someone brand new to this. So the center console, center stack, instrument cluster, pillars, lower trims, glove box, I've removed and reinstalled these countless times, so I was able to do that quite quickly. And it was a matter of just kind of giving the dashboard a wiggle to see where it was fixed in place. So there are 2 bolts where these speaker pods are, just there, either side. They're the only 2 top points where the dashboard is fixed. Everything else is lower down. There are some plugs, so again, just kind of jiggling the dashboard and just seeing where there's kind of resistance. I didn't bother taping up any of the plugs because they're all distinct and they're all hanging where they need to be reconnected, so I don't expect to have any problems with that. What I did decide to do was remove the shifter and the shifter surround so as to not damage it, removing the dashboard. These plastics here are quite sharp. Also remove the steering wheel. A 2-minute job, even with an airbag, just unclip it. I don't disconnect the battery, I never have, but if you want to take that precaution, feel free, but it just unclips. I wouldn't expect an airbag to explode just because you're disconnecting the power to it. If so, then there's something inherently wrong there. What else? These 2 here, I didn't actually need to undo, so don't need to worry about that. These lower trims here, where the carpet attaches, they just need to be undone. They're just screwed on. The footrest needs to come away. What else? The glove box, as I said, that was pretty straightforward. A lot of this is just screwed in. Just gently moving the dashboard, kind of pulling it away, you'll see what needs to come out. There was a few plugs here. That one there, and then where the phone, like there's like a accessory socket for a phone, needs to come away, which is where I normally earth a lot of the like reverse camera and aerial and whatnot. So yeah, but otherwise it's fairly painless. As I said, you just got to take it step by step, and 1.5 hours and we're at this point. So I'll remove the dashboard now, have a look at this heater core, see if I can replace that, and reinstall everything. Made it to the heater core. I'm about to pull it out of its sleeve, so there's a few more bolts to undo. So I've managed to avoid removing all of this, disconnecting all the HVAC. I just didn't want to do that because I'm just worried about all these levers and breaking something. So I've left that all intact and just worked to get enough space to remove the heater core. So this unit here, you've got some nuts. I've also loosened these ones here. Down below, can't see, but there's 2 more. It's these ones. one on either side, so you've got to do one on this side and then one on the driver's side, and there's a few more. Basically just look for these and these 12mm, just to loosen all of the air conditioning and ventilation system. And then there's also two of these clips that hold this unit and this unit together. So there's one there and there's one there. You can see that horseshoe shape. So you need to remove those, and that will then separate this. And then down here there's this clip that kind of, you just need to, you'll know how it works, but it just clips the heater core in. So when it's, I can't do it now, but anyway, it just stops the heater core moving. You just lift it up and it'll pop out of the way. And then we've got the two pipes. All right, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, the heater core's out. You'll need to keep the Torx screws because they don't come with the replacement. I couldn't get to this one, so I just used some vice grips and just ripped the pipe off. Sorry mate. For the new core, I'm going to cut a section out here so that I can slide the core in with the pipes attached. I couldn't actually get the old core out with the pipes attached, which is why I had to undo them and then eventually tear the bottom one off because I just couldn't get that Torx screw undone. So that should mean I can just slide the new core straight in with the pipes attached and then align everything back up. Okay, so I've got the heater core with the hose pipes screwed on. Make sure they're very tight and sitting flush. You don't want any leaks. So they're, as I said, Torx screws, so you'll need a T20 to fix those on. Alrighty, heater core is in. It took some persuasion, so that kind of cutaway I did didn't really help all that much. The key was to get the heater core slid into the kind of sleeve by pushing this unit as far to the right as you possibly can to get the heater core in, and then bringing it back over to the left to get the pipes through the firewall, and then lining up down the bottom the two bolts. So once that was lined up, all the top could be lined up and bolted back into place. And there's those two clips, one there and one there. And then you've got these here which kind of, they just slide off. That one, that one, and that screw there. The rest of them I didn't need to remove. So I think at this point the dashboard can go back in. Something to consider doing if you've got the time is cleaning all of the dashboard and center console parts before reinstalling. So there's a few other things that I've already reinstalled. So the speaker pod covers, the air vents, the center console, and the transmission surround. and I'm about to put all these other parts back in now. So a lot of dust accumulates on the insides. For example, kind of on the insides here. So all this needs to be removed when you do the heater core, so you might as well, if you've got the time, wash them all down. Okay, on to connecting the hoses to the heater core from the engine. I suggest to minimize coolant loss, you do the hose that connects to the lower pipe first on the heater core, which connects to the upper pipe on the engine, so just by virtue of gravity you'll lose less coolant. So I did that one first. I used screw clamps on both ends on all 4 connections. I don't like using those plier based clamps, they're just a nightmare to position and remove. And then the hose that comes out of the lower pipe on the engine, I just wedge that in place just to prevent any coolant coming out while I cut it to size, and then fixed it into the upper pipe on the heater core. So I tried to minimize kinkage. It is a little bit difficult with these aftermarket hoses, but I think it looks okay. So there we go. I didn't lose much coolant, so I will return this coolant I bought, and what I did lose I just replenished with the radiator water. So that's the under the bonnet part done. Everything is reinstalled. I've just removed the mats. I'm going to give those a wash down because there was stuff all over them. And obviously the seat covers, they'll go in the wash. And I'll just wipe down the dashboard and everything, all the controls, and then we are done. This job does create a bit of a mess. So obviously I've replaced the seat covers, and I also removed and scrubbed the mats down, and they were just drying out yesterday and overnight, so I've put those back in now. And then I've just wiped down all the surfaces and the controls, so yeah, all nice and clean. I now have a heater, and yeah, pretty happy with the result. Okay, job done. Yeah, quite a painstaking job. One I don't plan to ever do again, and I don't think I'll need to, because the car's rarely driven, so I just don't see the heater core pipes deteriorating again. Just a couple of things to note. These side panel trims here, this one in particular, there's I think 3 tongues and 2 pushing clips, so just getting that aligned, you know, it can be a bit of a challenge, but everything else pretty much just screws and clips back in just fine. I lost the fuel gauge reinstalling the instrument cluster. That's happened before. It's just a poor connection when you push the cluster in. So I'll have a look at that in the next couple of days, but I've got a full tank, so I'm not worried about that. I didn't end up re-foam taping the demister vents. I just removed the old tape and just cleaned everything down. If it so happens that, you know, I did replace the tape and it deteriorates, it blows all out through the vents, and then you have to remove the dashboard, obviously, to clean it up and replace it. So I just decided not to do that. I just left it without the foam. These side vents though, I did put some foam tape around where it joins the piping just to get a better connection and increase the airflow there, reducing the leakage. And you probably saw earlier in the video I had done that already on these center vents. But apart from that, yeah, I'd say you could probably do this job in about 5 hours. I had the dashboard out in about 1.5 hours, but I was filming, I was taking my time, and I did clean down everything I could before I reinstalled it, just to give me that increased kind of job satisfaction, I suppose. It just feels good when kind of everything's neat and tidy when it's put back in the car. I've been for a test drive, and yeah, there's no leaks and there's good heat coming out, so I'm happy with that. There's obviously a lot to this job, so I probably haven't been able to capture everything, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll get back to you. And as always, thanks for watching. Cheers.